to the Legends Weekly Wrap-Up, hosted by Nathan Legend.
Tapped Out Nation, what is going on? And welcome to the Legends Weekly Wrap-Up. I have with me Myron the Mark. Myron, how are you?
Hello, internet wrestling community. Hello, podcast world. And hello, Nathan. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How was your weekend?
I worked, but, it's not so bad. I came home for Father's Day, and they're like, let's do something. Like, no, just let me get out of the basement and watch Money in the Bank. But I compromised and ate some nachos in the living room with my family and watched Money in the Bank.
For sure.
I don't know how good a present that was. Still not understanding that.
Well, we'll get into that. I, on the other hand, had a great weekend. I don't have kids, so I got to go to the primetime wrestling event in Bloomington, Minnesota. The main event was Mitch Paradise against Ken Anderson, formerly known as Mr. Kennedy with the WWE. Met him, got a picture. Nice guy. I was chatting with him, and who stops by to talk with us? Sean Daivari.
Sean Daivari.
The older brother of Ari Daivari. So they have a wrestling school up in Brooklyn Center, which is just north of the cities. You can check them out at theacademyprowrestling.com. But let's get into this Money in the Bank event.
Hold on. Real quick, though. You should take some classes, and I'll go videographer you.
You want to see me work?
No, I want to do the camera work while you're at the classes, and we'll make a bunch of episodes out of it, like a Behind the Music or Tough Enough.
Like a Tough Enough? Just watch me take bumps.
Podcast. Yeah, you can take some bumps, get over the whole thing, cut your promos.
See, I'd want to do that just to be like a manager, like a Jim Cornette type, like just whack people with objects.
Yeah.
And get heat.
You need to find your racket, Nathan. You need to find your racket.
Yeah, I do. But so let's get into this Money in the Bank. This was the SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view, and a lot of buzz on this. And
yes.
It had some very good work. It had some kind of questionable, controversial stuff mixed in with it. What was your overall impression?
Pacing was wrong.
Yeah.
That was my main complaint.
Yeah.
That the pacing was not right. Not counting the kickoff match, which was the Hype Brothers. Glad to see them back in action, but I think that's not going to last, honestly. That's my take on it. But it's good to see everybody back in action and working. Once again, Mojo, undefeated on pre-shows. The king of pre-shows. And then all of a sudden, they dropped the match I wanted to watch the whole pay-per-view for as the first match on the card. Why?
Well, the first match on the card was the one that we said on the show last week that this was the one we were looking forward to the most. Nick and I were talking about
definitely
all the possibilities, all the different things they can work with, and the fact that it was the first women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Mm-hmm. And I think that the match itself I thought was good to protect them. It had a little bit too much of the everyone's kind of incapacitated, and then there's one in the ring looking up like, oh, this is my chance. Let's get a ladder.
Yeah.
But
there were some good shots, man. There were some brutal hits.
Natty took a lot of the natty bumps.
Yeah.
I'm going to make that a thing, by the way, natty bumps, because she just gets brutalized.
Well, she's good at it. She's I'm not sturdy is the wrong word because she's a beautiful woman, but she's good at that kind of thing. She can take the bumps and not shatter like some of the other ones. And experience, training, conditioning. She's great at that kind of stuff. Yeah. You got to see a lot of highlighted talent. You got, like you said, everybody's outside the ring, but the one person at a time. Some good ladder shots, and then the ending.
Yeah. Let's okay, I'm gonna let you give your take on the finish before I give my take on the finish.
My take is I wouldn't have a problem with Camilla winning. I wouldn't have a problem with Camilla cheating in winning. I thought Ellsworth coming out cheapened the women's match. Nothing against Ellsworth. He's not my guy. I mean, I've got an Ellsworth T-shirt. I think he's funny. It's great to see an independent talent come up onto the roster out of nowhere and develop to be a character that storylines are written about. When a year ago he was wrestling in bingo halls.
Yeah.
Great guy. I like him. But he shouldn't have done that. They should not have written that. It cheapened the women's experience. But when we go into tonight, did we fix it tonight? What did tonight do?
Well, I want to give my take on this finish to this match. And before I do, I want to point out that this is my take as a male wrestling fan. So I'm a fan of wrestling. I love the women's wrestling, love the men's wrestling. Number one, I understand why a lot of fans, both male and female, were upset by this finish. Mm-hmm. I get it. And I don't understand it completely. The reason being is I'm not a woman fan. I'm not a woman wrestling fan. I'm not a woman who's a fan of wrestling, rather. I think
But if you were, we wouldn't have a problem with you. You'd still be okay with us.
The finish itself, I do think that it was kind of I think cheap is the wrong word, but I think it was kind of a grab at getting higher TV ratings. It's clear that they wanted to
genders or something.
They wanted to have something really controversial to get TV ratings up. It's clear. It's not news to anyone. The TV ratings have been down. This was a way for them to do that and potentially book for the summer. Now, I do think that there is a little bit of, without getting too far deep into this, there is a little bit of symbolism with James climbing up and grabbing the case and then tossing it down to Carmella. Without getting too far deep into that, I understand why people were upset at that. Now, having said those things, this got more buzz online and more attention and more eyes on the product tonight. I'm assuming we'll find out, then probably there would have been had there been a cleaner finish. So I think it did what they wanted to at the expense of maybe some of the fan base. There probably is still some resentment there. But as far as getting heat, a lot of people got worked in a post-kayfabe wrestling world. Because
Exactly.
A lot of
now, if you look at the card for Money in the Bank, for stuff that would have built for tonight's program, there wasn't anything there.
No.
Did the Canalises come out? Did that make you want to watch tonight? No.
Nope. Okay.
Did that Naomi, what I want to say, Naomi Lana match want to watch tonight? No.
I think Naomi Lasagna would have probably drawn more than
yes.
what we saw.
I like that Stouffer's lasagna, but it's made out of toots. I poop for days. I think it's all that cheese product in it or something. But Randy and Jinder, seen it before.
Right, but this time we had Cowboy Bob.
Yes,
ringside with Ric Flair and Sergeant Slaughter.
Okay, now did Baron Corbin win the Money in the Bank match? Did that make you want to watch tonight?
Yeah, it did.
Had to think about that one though.
I did have to think about it. It wasn't a hard yes. It was kind of
best thing they did though. The best thing really they did on the pay-per-view was the Fashion File stuff. But then it pops out. It's the Ascension.
Oh God.
Why? And that didn't. You didn't get any Fashion Files tonight. Even though now Breezango has their own T-shirt.
They do.
Okay, they
ordered it earlier today, actually.
Man, you get on that stuff quick.
I do get on that.
You get on that.
The WWE shop. They should take it out of my paycheck every couple of weeks.
It should be like a subscription package. You should get a shirt every week.
They should do that. But okay, so Money in the Bank. You looking up and down the card. You're right. There wasn't really anything that made people dying to tune in, which is probably the reason why they chose to book the finish of the women's match the way they did.
Yeah, the finish makes sense from a business standpoint. Why they ran it as the first match does not.
No.
I do not.
I was listening to Russo's podcast, The Brand, today, and he flipped out, and he said, basically, bro, why would they have the men's ladder match as the final match? Because that kills any possibility of the winner of that match running in later that night. And Vince is right. Russo's right.
Got to give it after a rough week for you, man.
Yeah,
you've had a rough week with Pritchard and all them.
Oh yeah.
But man, that is an incredible point.
Russo hit it on the head. Yeah.
Put the match before that Jinder and Randy match.
Right. And also that's the main belt.
Yeah.
So that should be theoretically the main event, right?
Well, the U.S. title belt was in the ladder match.
Well, yeah, but I mean they've got issues with booking up and down the card, but I think that the show overall I thought it was okay. I thought it was better than it was because I think the men's main event was so great. The men's ladder match I thought was probably one of the best I've seen. It wasn't just a big, brutal spot fest. You had some teaming up with Ziggler and Corbin until, they turned on each other, of course. And it had good pacing. It picked up at the right time. Nakamura getting beat down. You kind of had a story develop there. It was a little Roman Reigns-y from Royal Rumble of last, but it worked.
With
it worked
the Nakamura bit,
yeah.
Fair enough. We thought that at the house that actually came up.
Right.
I gotta have the thing is when you put Sami Zayn in these matches, it's you got something. Okay, you got Sami. He's gonna be beat up. He's gonna take a mega bump. He's gonna take a shot. He's gonna do something to draw attention, and you're gonna get the emotional look at the end that they got out of him. That look of disgust when everything was down. Perfect.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn is the best set piece in wrestling. Never a champion, but he's a damn good bridesmaid. He makes the whole wedding party better.
I agree with that.
Yes.
And the as far as Naomi and Lana, that I don't know if that should have been a pay-per-view match, but I will say that even though Lana didn't probably do her best work, I'm not going to give up on her. I think a lot of the fan base is saying that, she's the shits and she can't work. It's like, that was basically her first main roster.
That was her first roster match.
That was a live pay-per-view.
They may have been hiding it on a paper. Yes. They may have pulled her back a little bit. Let it go. Let's see what happens. I just hate the fact that she is turning into Sable and Russo is turning into Mark Marrow. To quote our Twitter conversation with RJ, I don't know what happened to Rusev. To me, one of the best talents they had. I like, you didn't like him because he was a heel. He did a good heel. He did that. He had the U.S. title. He did exactly what Kevin Owens is doing now with the U.S. title.
Yeah.
Same exact bit. Heel from out of town. And he was interesting. He had a good title run. When Reigns shit him at Hell in a Cell, he's basically gone off the radar.
Are you referring to the accolade with the chain and the
accolade and the chain
on the stairs?
Turned into a Superman punch.
That spot was ridiculous.
The whole match was over.
That was the most ridiculous spot I've seen in a long time. But the problem that you have now, shout out to RJ, by the way.
Yes.
The problem that you have now is by them keeping Rusev off of TV for this long of a time, now people want to see Rusev, and he's going to get that babyface reaction the next time we see him.
Seth Rollins.
Because, right. And they not only have they held him off, but he's also been on Total Divas. He's also been all over social media. And he is getting that sort of following that basically is a contrast to what they want to have with Lana. So I don't think you don't want
Rusev being the next Zack Ryder.
Right. I don't think we're going to see Rusev anytime soon, honestly.
They're going to keep him off the show while Lana gets her chance so he doesn't detract from her chance?
I think so. They can't have them split on TV because then it's like, well, they're still married at the end of the day, so we're not going to suspend too much of our disbelief. So I'm afraid we won't see Rusev anytime soon.
You don't want to see Benoit,
which
Sullivan,
sucks.
and Woman.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. Sucks totally. If they wanted to do something, they could have put him on Raw where they could use him. But all of a sudden now, we've got a bunch of big face heels types. You don't know who they are on Raw now. So it's kind of hard to determine. What would they do?
Well, let's get into Raw. And I will say that this week, I think Raw outperformed SmackDown. And you don't say that very often. I think it happened this week.
But it to me, it was horribly paced again. You got you got a payoff at the end, but a payoff that you didn't build the whole show. You could have taken that and woven it through the show and like had vignettes, and you could have had people talking and Angle's whole investigation and Corey Graves and all that. And they just let that dangle, and then at the end it was Master Detective Kurt Angle, and then Corey Graves as whatever the Pink Panther or Hercule Poirot or whatever Master Detective he was.
Did Corey Graves turn face?
I don't know what Corey Graves turned. I do not know that. He got more ambiguous, but Corey Graves is so over.
He's great. He's fantastic.
When people, Bruce Pritchard put him over so much. If you can dodge through a lot of the heat on that Russo episode, there's.
Are we getting worked by that? By the way,
if we were getting worked by that, the person who was going to benefit the most is Russo, because
we're getting worked is what you're saying.
Well, the thing is, Bruce Pritchard, his show with Conrad is hot, incredibly hot. They didn't need the publicity among the mark, because those are, for lack of a better way, those are mark podcasts. They're not the podcasts the wrestlers listen to. They're the podcasts the fans listen to, and I love it. Never miss one. I actually skipped ahead because I'd got behind. I skipped ahead to hear the Russo episode. They could be working us. But the thing is, I'm enjoying the hell out of the Twitter.
Yeah.
Russo and Conrad batting back and forth and challenges and all that. It's so much more entertaining than the Cornette threatening to kill him for $5,000.
For $5,000, yeah.
I'm gonna show up with $5,000, no guns, no knives, bats, whatever you want to bring, and if you can take the $5,000 away from me, you can have it.
Yeah,
but that's in terms of Raw, there was bad pacing. I thought there was good action. Saving the women to the end with no build up through the whole show, so nobody saw anything about the women. Nobody remembered. By the time you were in your third hour, nobody remembered what happened last week.
No.
Where here's the whole thing from last week. And then once again, they do what they've been doing. Let's get every single woman on the show in the ring at one time.
And then they'll all just brawl.
Don't give them 2 to 3 matches. Don't let a storyline develop. Let's just put them all in there. We're going to give you your women. You love the women, so here's your women all at once.
The problem is you have all these talented women wrestlers. You have Emma, who's healthy now. You have Sasha Banks, who's crazy over. And they're not developing any sort of angles between all these women. Angles. They could have so much story. Like, they could develop storylines between Alexa and Mickey or Alexa and Nia. Like,
no,
Alexa and Nia
are
friends, but are they? Like,
TJP on every freaking Raw. No need. Keep them on 205.
But the problem is that people are seeing through that, oh, there's 8 minutes left, and now we're supposed to have a match between Nia Jax and Sasha, but, oh, here comes Alexa, okay. And, oh, here comes Emma. And then as soon as Emma came out, my kayfabe girlfriend, I was like, oh, they're just going to have a big brawl, schmoz, bullshit finish. And then there's not even time to give them the goddamn 6-woman tag that we get every fucking week.
No,
they didn't even give them that much.
It was a mistake.
No,
but we had to see the club lose again. Okay, lose again. We got Bray Wyatt talking nonsense. We got his little brother getting a good start to a match with Finn Balor. Why? Oh, to become one of the Mrs. Bears?
Yeah.
Are they Ms. Bears? I don't know.
Well, Curtis Axel is one of the Ms. Bears too.
So
shout out to Minnesota.
We'll see what that goes, because the Miz is probably the best thing on there. Titus Brand, get rid of all that. That's
you got to be kidding me! You don't like the Titus Brand?
No,
I love the Titus Brand.
Me. I'm not a fan of Titus Brand.
Why? Well, how?
Nothing against Titus O'Neil, and nothing against Apollo Crews. I love Apollo Crews. Nobody else. I mean, he's never going anywhere. But to me, Titus Brand, it's. Can Titus have a white partner? Is there something that says Titus always has to have a white partner?
If Titus O'Neil approached the Legend and said join the Titus Brand, I would in a second I would do it.
And he retweeted us too. So
there you go.
You got to let me heal so you can go over harder. Okay.
The problem is they're gonna. It looks like they're gonna break up Ms. Maurice, at least on camera, but that shit doesn't fucking work when you have them on Total Divas. Is like, oh, this is their real marriage. So the audience cannot suspend enough of their disbelief when we know that they have a strong marriage. It's like that takes some of the audience out of it. No matter how much people want to mark out, it's like we can't do it for that.
If Vince McMahon were to take me and give me the reins, the first thing I would do,
the reins,
I would not Roman Reigns, the reins for the whole thing.
The reins. Okay.
If you put me in charge of the whole thing, first thing, your Twitter is kayfabe nonstop.
Yes.
If you
those are the rules.
Get fined, you drop out of kayfabe on Twitter, you're fined.
Yeah, everyone's Kevin Owens on social media all the time. If you don't like it, you're getting buried.
It's a job.
Yeah.
I can't say my job sucks. I hate my job on a public Twitter or Facebook, or private Facebook. I can't bash it and say, this is what my company is doing wrong. Or you should book me into more jobs. You should promote me publicly where thousands and hundreds of thousands of people see it. You can't run the thing down. Oh, I don't like the way things are being booked. I need to be in more storylines. If I did that at work, I'd be terminated.
Yeah, I agree. And
kayfabe it.
Yeah, and people watch the people that are true marks for WWE or New Japan or Impact or whatever it is. They'll watch the shows and the pay-per-views, but then guess what they're doing on their phone? They're looking at wrestlers' tweets. They're looking at WWE. So they keep living this kayfabe that they want to keep with them at all times. And it drops out of it when we see Braun Strowman, no disrespect, but when we see him going on vacation, taking pictures of Roman Reigns, it's like, wait a minute, didn't you just put him in the hospital? It's like, and we know it's a work. Of course we do. But
just recently.
Yeah, and we want to have that suspension of disbelief. We want to mark out, and it takes away a lot of that. So I agree. Now, speaking of which, we had a tremendous match between Samoa Joe, or Smojo, as Scott Steiner would call him, and Roman Reigns.
Samoa Joe and Joe the Samoan.
Exactly. And this was a great, great match. This had a lot of great work. They both looked really strong. Joe tried to get him the coquina clutch. He kind of muscled out of it.
Crazy hair.
At that point, Roman and his wet hair
had baby oil all over his upper torso.
Well, he always looks like that.
It's
either with Roman, it's either a man bun or it's like loose.
He should have put Gold Bond powder all
wet
over his forearms before he tried to get him in there.
And then you had Braun Strowman come out from the back of an ambulance, and he got a crazy reaction from this.
Oh, yeah.
People missed Braun Strowman. By the way, that whole injury, like 6 to 8 months, was a work, of course.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he had to have something done. I don't know exactly what he had to have done, but, yeah, it was a total work. Well, it would have to be enlarged to make it go with the rest of his body.
Right.
You know? It's like midgets. They look like they have giant ding-dongs, but they've got regular ding-dongs in little bodies.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know,
then,
like if he was a horse, he'd look odd.
Yep. So then when you had Braun come out and interrupt the match, this got booked perfectly. And I tweeted this during the match and said, there's no way that they can have a clean sort of victory here. It has to be like a dusty finish. Something has to get involved. And then Braun came out, and Joe ended up getting the win, but they found a way to have Roman lose without making him look like he got beat.
Oh, well, nobody distracted.
Right, so nobody ended up looking poor, or looking bad from this. Braun came out, and this was a great booking to this. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely loved it. I want to talk about Elias Samson briefly. They've got something with him. He's a big guy. He's bound to be a star. Is he going to be the next kind of like Intercontinental Champion type conversation guy that they have? What I would like to see out of him is to continue to draw a mad amount of heat, and them to do what they should have done with Bray Wyatt, and that develop. Okay, they've got a good heat drawing for him. He comes out and talks crap. He's an enigmatic character. And, you know, The Rock didn't come out. And he didn't come out to be popular. He came out as Die Rocky Die, and he was Premier of the Nation of Domination, and all of a sudden he was The Rock making movies. Hey, told them to shove it up their asses.
Exactly. If they're going to do it with this guy, they're going to do it with this guy. They got a chance with him. He's got the look.
Yep.
I don't know if putting him with Dean, Death of a Character Ambrose is the right mix for him, or what he's going to do, or he's going to come out and stare down. He is drawing a lot of heat. I don't like it.
That's good.
He's making me angry.
But getting heat's good.
That's exactly what he's supposed to do.
If you get heat as a wrestler, they can do a lot more things with that than they can, like if you're getting booed and he gets booed.
Yes.
Like playing a song and singing about how you hate the town. It's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
It's perfect.
I agree with you.
We have not seen a single slap nuts Jeff Jarrett breaking the guitar spot yet, though.
No, you have not.
Do you think Vince is keeping that back deliberately? I think so.
They're probably going to hold it. They'd have to hold it. Yeah,
they'd have to.
It's too good.
But now you have so Finn Balor I think Finn Balor is kind of in that Intercontinental Championship discussion because it's clear they're not going to put him in with that Universal Championship because he sticks out as being the little guy, quote unquote. So I think Balor is a choice and a contender for that Intercontinental Championship. What do you think?
That's where he's got to go right now. As with him small, not that he's little, but he's not as big as the big guys.
Yeah.
Nick is singing. He doesn't realize his mic's not 100% off.
It's okay. We can sing on the Legends Weekly wrap up.
The Rick Rubin of Hog Mountain over there doing the production work.
Yeah. The thing about it is, I think Balor having that Intercontinental Championship, it would set up Elias perfectly to be just this fucking villain to try to take that off of him. Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
Because Finn kind of has that rock star type presence to him where he's a good looking guy, comes out with a leather jacket. He's really, really over. And then you have Elias, who is playing guitar and singing. He's kind of like the anti-hero, like asshole rock star, you know?
Yes.
I like that.
The good thing about that is giving him the Intercontinental title will give him credibility. And outside of people that want it, we keep assuming everybody watches NXT. Everybody knows what he did in Japan. Everybody knows his name was Prince Devitt. They don't.
Right.
They gave him that title, and then he got hurt. And then it was like they gave the title because of the marks. No, let's spot this whole thing for a little while and put the Intercontinental belt on him. Let him go with a run with that. Let him get some time. Let him get some mic time.
Yeah.
Work through it. And I think it'll be fun. I mean, I think he's got potential. Don't rush him.
Right, and I'm not a Balor fan, but I like the idea of him getting an Intercontinental Championship.
Yes.
I think that's a good move. I want to talk about the ending to that Raw. And so a lot has been worked up with Cass getting beat up and Enzo getting beat up, and the Revival did it, and no, they didn't. And then you had the Big Show as a suspect. I mean, think about this. It's like, this is like the Clue game of Raw for the past several weeks. And then Corey Graves is somehow involved with it, and Angle has like photos or text messages that could ruin him. So we don't know what the hell's going on. So finally, you had Kurt Angle cracking the case. Kind of a gimmick infringement on the Fashion Police from SmackDown. But, so you had Enzo and Cass come out to meet Kurt Angle, right? And then you had the Revival come out. So the Revival had an alibi. They ruled them out. Mm-hmm. You had Big Show come out. Big Show got offended at Angle saying, like, he punched him in the back of the head. And Big Show said, I don't really need to be on your show anymore. Did Big Show retire? Was that what happened?
It's hard to say because, he could have very well walked off on that. I think you should come over to Raw instead of
SmackDown.
SmackDown. Go over to SmackDown, do some stuff over there, and then walk away. Exactly. He's done his time. He's put Braun Strowman over. Let him move on to go doing something else, You don't
think we're going to get Cass and Big Show at
You might see Cass and Big Show might be a really good thing. I didn't think about that. Is Cass a super heel?
He is now.
So,
he is now.
I question their judgment in taking it and splitting it up right now.
Well, hold on. Because let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk through what happened. So, Corey Graves, of all people, makes it a point to come out and say, Cass, I have some information here. And so we see the security footage. By the way, they do have security cameras backstage. I had no idea.
Yes.
Because they hadn't mentioned this in the past several weeks. But so we see Cass basically laying down and faking that he got beat up.
Mm-hmm.
So then it was proven that Cass beat up Enzo. And then Cass admits to beating up Enzo. And Colin Cassidy cut the promo of his career.
The guy that everybody is like, he can't be with Enzo because he just can't do a promo. He blew that out of the water. I was astounded by how good that was.
It was great. He sounded in his element. It sounded real. And not only that, Enzo, who a lot of people are critical of, including myself, sold this perfectly.
Oh, yeah. His facial expressions were incredible.
Perfect. Yeah. Legit tears from two shoot best friends. This was excellent. This was Festival of Friendship level of, like, sticking the knife in all of our guts and twisting it. Yeah. I mean, you just had Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano with their great breakup. Yeah. This was very, very close to that level. Yeah. And Cass came out and said, you've been holding me back. I'm sick of having your back. You're the reason why I haven't succeeded here. And I honestly think when they do a lot of these heel turn type angles, they take a lot of what people are saying, like what fans are saying, and they use that, of course.
Oh, yeah.
It makes perfect sense. And you had Cass. Cass got heat, and then he booted Enzo and then left the ring to a showering of booze. And this was how Raw ended.
Great way to end it.
Wow.
The part I don't understand is they split a tag team up when they didn't have a lot of tag teams, and they put more big guys, big top card level guys out there. So
they did.
Let's see how it works. It's going to have to shake out. It's going to take a couple of weeks before the new thing shakes out. I'm looking forward to seeing how that works. But, man, Enzo is the clear loser in this to me. Unless they put him on 205.
I think they may be doing that.
Oh, 205 would use his talent. Man, he could bring a lot to that program.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that this Raw was one of the better episodes of Raw in probably this year.
Pretty good.
Because you had great in-ring action. The Titus Brand, Titus and Apollo against Sheamus and Cesaro, I thought for being a pointless tag team match, I thought it was good. And you had angles develop, and you had good in-ring wrestling. That's what we want. Every week, that's what we want.
Yeah.
So, tonight, or last night, I guess, if you're listening, SmackDown Live. And the return of Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
So 2 days removed from Father's Day, Daniel Bryan is on SmackDown Live.
Well, at least they let him have his first Father's Day.
That's true.
But you got to get back to work.
That's right. He's got to feed those kids, or that kid. So Daniel Bryan has a very kind of difficult task already. He has to sort out what happened at the Money in the Bank match and the women's ladder match. So we talked through it before.
While being stalked the entire show.
Right.
By women who are angry.
Yeah.
And want him to fix things and make everything better.
Right. So the show, I thought it was decent. I thought that they played up this controversy well enough. But the issue that I took with it was that the bad guys and the bad girl, they basically got their comeuppance without a match. Daniel Bryan came in and said, well, James, the rules do state it's a no DQ match, but... And he went through a bunch of hoops and then said, we're going to restart this match next week. We're going to have another women's Money in the Bank match. The problem is, and I was talking with a couple Marks wrestling podcasts. You can follow them at ACM Wrestling.
Good kid.
And they made it a very good point. And they said if they do that, it's going to take away a lot of the impact that women's match had on Sunday, and it did. By saying we're going to do it over, so we're going to have a second one. I think that takes away some of that importance of that first match, even though it had a screwy finish. What do you think?
My take on it is they've decided to take the match that was a much anticipated match and use it to sell 2 SmackDowns.
Yeah.
Because the people that were going to watch the pay-per-view were already going to watch the pay-per-view. And right now the ratings are down. So you take that, you screw them on the pay-per-view, for lack of a better way to put it. I don't even know. That's not really a pay-per-view anymore. But you take that and then you put over everybody wanted to see that tonight. They drug it out the whole episode.
Yeah.
Got that. And then next time we're going to sign in to see, and hopefully they'll put this match at the highlight of next week's episode so we don't have to see the gender random match. Luke Harper, number one contender, out of the blue.
Harper. So not only is the women's ladder match happening again next week, but the Hype Bros still number one contenders because they never lost that, right?
Yes.
Now have to wrestle next week for another chance of being number one contenders, but they already are the number one contenders, right?
But they have to wrestle to be the number one contenders against the champions. that would make them the champions, not the number 10.
Right. So they
should
have the
wrestle
belts.
the New Day,
Exactly.
or another team that's in prominence to get that. Not the champions. You don't win anything by wrestling the champions except the belt. Making the champions decide the number one contender is the stupidest thing being done. Aside from the fact you're let the champions come out first.
Well, they booked themselves into a corner because they can't wrestle the Ascension because they already beat them. And if they wrestle the New Day,
wrestle the Ascension.
Well, the Ascension, I'll talk about them later, but they have to wrestle the Usos because there's really no other heel teams on SmackDown. You have the Breezango, who are basically built as baby faces. You have the New Day, they're baby faces. And
are American Alpha a tag team now?
I think they still are, because Gable came out to the Alpha music tonight.
That made with the other guy, which that made no sense to have Gable come out and do that match. Maybe
not, but I still loved it. And Gable's a Minnesota guy. But he's not an Iowa guy, by the way. He's a Minnesota guy.
Ohio.
Big Lake.
I'm not.
Right, Ohio.
I'm not bashing him, but it made no sense to book that match to me.
Maybe not, but
whatever.
It's an open challenge, right?
It was an open challenge and a different match than what we've been saying. So they gave us something new. In retrospect, that's a good thing. Twitter blew up about it, not in a bad way. Twitter was interested in it. Watching the wrestling Twitter from work today, when I saw that pop out, it was a real solid thing. People were 100% behind it. People were big. People were excited because you hadn't seen Gable in months. And all of a sudden he was out. One thing I do not care for, and this is just my take on things.
What's that?
Is they've got such a crowded roster, and it doesn't make sense to keep building and adding these random matches, though, when you've got people that could really be doing some more stuff. I don't know where that's going.
Are you referring to Sammy and Ty Dillinger selling Sonic Blizzards or whatever the hell, ice cream?
You know, one thing I'll tell you about Sonic, it's good stuff. Real good stuff.
I agree.
Love the Sonic. But why were they doing this with Ty Dillinger? Except the fact he's over. So instead of letting the over guy wrestle, let's get him to sell milkshakes.
Pretty much.
They don't even have like a WWE milkshake there. Maybe like a, something like a WWE themed milkshake. I don't get it. Don't get it at all. But like I said, love the Sonic. They give the money. It's not as creepy as Enzo hinting at intercourse with fried chicken.
That's true.
So
the Georgia Gold.
I guess I'll take this. Yes. I guess I will take this. Are we having the Punjabi prison rematch?
I don't know. It seems like Orton has rematch tonight. Or no, he had it on Sunday.
Yeah, how many times did you get a rematch? Okay.
So he had it on Sunday, because he didn't compete tonight. He just got involved with it.
I thought you only got a rematch if you lost the title.
That's what I thought too.
You don't get a rematch if you lose in a title shot when you were the challenger. You go on to the next challenger. Quit showing us Randy and Jinder.
I think that's what they're selling, though. I think it has to be Randy is over as a villain in India. And I know Jinder's not from India, but it has to be something like that. Because why else would they have him say tonight, I'm going to RKO Jinder's family in India, when we know his family's in Canada? Like, it has to be something like that, right?
They're going too stereotypical. It's one thing to do
It's very stereotypical. It's like 80s.
Yeah, it's one thing to do the heel from another country angle, but when you go, I'm going to get his whole family in India, that's getting ridiculous. That to me, that's just too much.
It was way too much.
You're making wrestling fans look bad.
And like Hulk Hogan, Iron Sheik type stuff from the 80s, it wouldn't be, I'm going to go over to Iran and, drop the leg on his family.
And we were fighting these people. They had hostages. You know, it was a lot hotter thing. We don't have a war with India. Never once have we had a war with India.
No.
Okay? He was like the only brown person they could find. It's not how this should work.
No.
How does this work?
No, it's a lot. And I thought, I'm like, okay, they're going to have a babyface promo from Randy. But then when he talks about beating up someone's family, it's like, okay, well, I guess we're going back.
Babyface ever.
The thing was, I posted tonight, I'm like, Randy, what are you going to do? Burn his house down and go to his sister's grave and light it on fire or something? And then same shit he did with the Wyatts. Yeah, with the Wyatts.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
I don't get it. But one thing this whole thing has taught me, that Brock Lesnar not being there every week has actually been good for the program. Because it took that whole number one contender versus the champion and all that, it took that out of the loop. And it's been better, to me, it's been better for business. And when they do that thing where Lesnar's coming on next week, finally, you want to watch it. So
yeah, and that Lesnar show, the ratings jumped too. People watched it because Lesnar's a fucking draw, and
exactly
that's what they needed.
It'd be good to get Jinder off TV for a little while.
You think Jinder's got to go?
No. Be like Brock. Let him be in that in and out thing, so you see him occasionally, but let him tour India. Let him do some work over there. But keep him hot, keep him on the back burner so people remember him. But develop your undercard while you're at it instead of keep throwing Randy Orton at it.
Yeah, and I as far as Jinder being on there, I don't think they're going to take him off of TV. The reason being, it's got to be that the Indian market is tuning in.
Oh yeah,
each week.
Well, when we were at SmackDown, there was an Indian guy with a Money in the Bank briefcase and a Jinder Mahal Maharaja shirt
just
on.
Full mark.
It's like they're marking out, they're buying the merch. And that's in Atlanta. Okay?
He spent like $300 before he even found his seats.
Yeah, he was dropping a shit ton of cash. The kids all had merch.
Yeah.
And it's like, would they have been there if Jinder hadn't have been champion?
Probably not.
We'd still be there.
Maybe.
We'd still be there. We didn't buy merch because, there really wasn't anything that you wanted. Another John Cena foam hand and a 2X t-shirt, the biggest. I have to order the plus sizes off the website itself.
By the way, don't ever buy merch from live shows.
Yeah,
ever.
It's all overpriced too.
Well, the problem is if you buy it from a live show and there's a defect with it, you're fucked because you can't return it through the WWE shop unless you buy it online. So don't buy shit at shows.
Well, they usually don't have much, and they had a line, the longest merchandise line I've ever seen in my life for any form of sport, NASCAR, NFL, college football, longest merch booth line I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and when they wrestle at Phillips in Atlanta, they only have 2 merch tables. And it pretty much ran the entire length of one side of Phillips Arena. So it was a lot.
Yep.
People are buying the stuff. Ratings may suck, but they're buying the stuff.
Whoa. You think Reigns sucks?
I said ratings may suck.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you said Reigns sucks. Like, get out of here.
No. Reigns has done well by himself. Reigns has really started to go into his own. His own is a guy who can't cut a promo, but is decently talented and polished.
What are you talking about? He came out and said it was his yard. That was his announcement. Remember?
Yeah, he can keep saying it's his yard. If you limit him to 3 or 4 word sentences that you have on cue cards or on his wrist somewhere, nothing. That's his.
Oh,
I'm not gonna bash him as a wrestler. The guy is doing great as a wrestler right now, but they've got to let him take some improv classes or something, or go do some stand-up or do something to kind of get him where he can come out there and cut something that's not so dry and canned.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think Roman Reigns is a better in-ring wrestler? Not on the mic. Do you think Roman Reigns is a better in-ring wrestler than The Rock?
This is a thing.
So that's a yes.
I don't think he is, because The Rock had a way to captivate the audience and bring you in and draw you emotionally and put the move over. And when he was going to pull his elbow pad off to do the people's elbow, or when he had Hogan in that match, The Rock could pull people in. Roman hasn't got that yet, but The Rock didn't develop that overnight. Okay?
That's right.
And The Rock, it took him time. It took him bad gimmicks. It took him heel turns. It took him face
It took him
turns.
years.
Exactly. So maybe, Reigns has been given the spotlight and the number one card from the go, and he's never had to get out there and grind to get better. So what they're doing with him works, and it works because people hate him, and he's still high up there. People hate him even though he's a face, and the people are bitching about him and complaining, and it still gets him over.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Let me ask you final thoughts on the women's Money in the Bank rematch. God, that's weird to say. Going down next week. Who do you got?
Don't shit on it. 6 months ago, we said very clearly, SmackDown's better than Raw.
I'm not shitting on it.
No. This is what I'm saying. The women don't shit on their program. This is the WWE.
Oh yeah.
This is my advice. Okay. The women of SmackDown were the best thing they had, and now, afterthought. Now, 6-man matches or 6-woman matches, not the best thing they have. They have, even bringing in Charlotte, they've taken something that was their strength and made it a sideshow. And on Raw, it's about the same thing. They took their hottest property that they had with Alexa Bliss, put her in there. Bad rivalries.
Yeah.
Bad matches with Bayley. Bayley out of character. Bayley confusing. Bayley was, when she ran in last night, she did some damage. She was looking like
that knee she
river.
gave to
yes.
to Emma. Jesus
yes.
Christ, that was stiff.
So right now, they don't know what to do with the women. So you've got an opportunity to fix this downward spiral I see with the women's wrestling on WWE. Don't mess this up. You're going to make us wait.
Yeah.
A total of 2.5 weeks to get this outcome. Maybe more. Don't screw this up. Don't lose interest.
So who you got?
I got to go the same thing. My heart's with Becky. Charlotte is the best. Carmella is the one they want to put it on because Carmella was dropping heat bombs tonight.
She had by the way, we did not cover that. She had a really, really good promo tonight.
Make you hate her. Got to make you hate her. She did a wonderful job,
Okay. I'll give my pick. I think they already had the Carmella ship sail tonight. I think that killed a lot of her heat. The reason being, on Talking Smack, Daniel Bryan banned Ellsworth from ringside for next week's rematch of this ladder match. So if you have Carmella win by herself, I think that is going to take away a lot of the heat that she garnered from Sunday and tonight. So I don't think Carmella's winning it. I am going to go with Becky Lynch because I think that not only did Becky get pushed over in that ladder to have Carmella win, I think that is where they're going to go with it. I think she's too over, and I think it would be a decent swerve because you had Baron Corbin winning, who's a total heel. Yeah. I think this would be a decent kind of flip side of that coin to have Becky win. So I got Becky win next week.
And you got also Charlotte on the verge of being a heel.
Right.
You've got Charlotte.
So Charlotte can feud with her. Perfect.
Unlikable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good cut. Good cut.
Yep.
Looking forward to it. They got me. You brought me in. You got me. I'm going to be watching next week.
Right. They got all of us. We all basically became kayfabe era marks on Sunday. Yes. And now we're sucked back in because it's summer.
I'm going to go rent the Coliseum VHS so I can find out what happened.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what kind of wrestling are you going to this weekend? You going to any shows?
We are going to go to Get Fried. Southern Fried Wrestling. It's going to be in Monroe. They've got a great card lined up. We're going to get to see Odin's son, the next big thing.
Okay? Really?
This guy.
The next big thing? You do realize who you're referring to when you say the next big thing, right?
No, I missed on that one.
That was Brock Lesnar's title back in the day.
Oh, Lesnar's never had this many muscles.
Wow.
Lesnar.
Wow.
Lesnar's legs are about the size of this guy's wrist. Lesnar's calves are about the size of Edmondson's wrist. This guy is jacked to the gills. He's talented. He can move. They miss that too much with these big muscle guys. They can't move. Odinson can move. Nothing but the sky for this guy. Family favorite, Drew Blood, with the nerd. Really fun chant. You know, they got their whole thing. They got I can't even remember the guy's name, but he's like the manager type. And the favorite wrestler, the favorite local wrestler of the Tapped Out Wrestling Georgia branch, Terry the Rocker Lawyer, live in action. Gotta love that guy. Probably the absolute nicest guy in professional wrestling.
Wow.
Yeah, great guy.
Right on.
Love him to death. I hugged him more than I hugged my mother the first time I met him.
All right. Well,
so what you gonna do? You gonna be taking a weekend off? You're gonna get some live shows?
I'm taking the weekend off. I have to finish moving this weekend.
Well, good luck with that. I don't know help, but I'm a zillion miles away and old and crippled.
I'm hiring a company to do it because I've been busted up 3 years of wrestling and amateur wrestling and rugby, so I'm having a company do it. Plus, I'm moving from a third floor to a second floor.
Yeah, that's suicide.
I'm hiring people to do it.
As you get older, that gets harder and harder. I'm going to go ahead and warn you. Enjoy it while you can.
Yeah. Well, as always, if you want to get a hold of us here at the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, you can email us at tappedoutwrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. We are very active on the Twitter. You can find us at TappedOutPod. That's at TappedOutPod. If you want to get a hold of Myron, where can they reach you on Twitter?
Myron the Mark TOP. That is where I get onto Twitter and have positive interactions with people and like tweets by the great superstars of old school wrestling and basically mark out.
Yeah.
And just wait to see what Bob's going to do. Get in some witty stuff with y'all. Wrestling Twitter is fun for me. It's like MySpace was back in the day.
MySpace, wow.
It's wrestling Twitter's better than MySpace.
I don't know. I lost my virginity from MySpace. That's a true story. So I haven't done that. But if you can find me on Twitter, and I give some positive interactions from Twitter. I also give some negative interactions. You can find me at Littman316. It's like Hitman with an L. As always, legends never die.
You do a good job generating heat there, buddy.
Hey, what can I say?
Without being mean-spirited.
You could find us on Facebook, Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. The easiest way to find us is through our website, which is tappedOutWrestlingPodcast.com. There you can find all of our affiliates, all the different ways to find us. And you can also find the Fight app. So we partner with the Fight app, which is a tremendous app if you want to watch wrestling or fighting on the go, MMA. It has ICW. It has Rocky Mountain Pro. It has Ring of Honor. Tons of great free wrestling content. You can also watch pay-per-views there. And the Fight app is a great way to watch wrestling that you may have never even heard of before.
Yeah,
and there's a ton
of your desktop too.
And you can also watch it on your Apple TV.
I love Rocky Mountain Pro.
Yeah.
And that's me. I sit down at my desk I've got a recliner by my desk so I can watch the wrestling on the computer from the desk and in my recliner. The best way to watch it, you got unlimited amounts of content. I could quit my job now and try to watch all the wrestling on the Fight app and never finish.
I mean, fully loaded wrestling, FSW, high octane, TNA, like There's so much content on the Fight app, and what I do is I watch it on my Apple TV because you can stream it through Apple TV if you have an iPhone, of course. So it's a great way to watch a lot of content. It's a great investment. It's free. You can also watch pay-per-views on it. You can also, through our website, you can find our Amazon affiliate link. And the way that it works is if you love the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network and you want to hear more shows, more interviews, a great way to donate to the network without having to pay anything extra is go through our website, tappedOutWrestlingPodcast.com. Click on the Amazon link. Order everything that you would normally order from Amazon. You don't pay a penny extra. What they do is Amazon kicks us a little bit of commission for helping to drive traffic to their site. Finally, the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network is on ProWrestlingTees.com. You can order your official Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast merchandise on Pro Wrestling.
I got a better deal. I got a deal for you. You buy a shirt on Pro Wrestling Tees and tweet me a picture of you in that shirt, and I'll retweet it.
Absolutely.
Bingo.
That sounds good to me.
That puts you over. That way, when I retweet the picture of you in your T-shirt, I'm not going to call you. No, I'm not going to call you. I'm going to put it where all your friends and family can see that the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast loves the fact you bought our product, and we accept you as one of us.
Damn right.
You just went over. We're going to put you over on Twitter, put you over on Facebook. I don't know about Instagram, but yeah, I will help you get over. You know, you'll get chicks. My love life has improved since getting Tapped Out Wrestling shirts.
Absolutely.
That probably, and listening to my girlfriend occasionally, has improved it dramatically. I'll give you that advice.
By the way, you can follow the legend on Instagram at Litman316. We had a good week of wrestling, and we got another good one coming up. Got anything else to add, Myron?
When is the next Raw pay-per-view?
The next Raw pay-per-view is Great Balls of Fire, and I believe it's in 5 weeks.
5 weeks? Oh, we're going to have to wait.
That's on July 9th, which is a Sunday.
I've already got plans July 9th. Sorry. I'm going to be watching that on the network later. I'm going to be at Evolve and Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment in Marietta.
Nice.
There are badass matches going down.
And tickets go on sale this Friday, the 23rd, for WWE Tables, Ladders, and Chairs in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And the Legend's going to be there, repping the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast.
That's always a good That's always a good show to go see.
I can't wait. October 22nd, I'm going to be there. If you run into me, let's get a photo, and let's have fun.
Yes.
Well, we had a great week. Myron, what time is it?
Let me check the clocks. Oh, no. Looks like it's time to tap out.